kind of good, I guess. Alright, it sounds like my audio's okay. So, yes. I never feel like my headphones are sitting right. But anywho, so let's, last time on Virtue's Last Reward Z, well, we disarmed all the bombs, so that was pretty cool. And now we were able to progress through the white doors. I have 10 Myoji and... Who's the other person who's with me? Is it 5? I don't remember. But regardless, they are... we're starting off right in a puzzle room because that's where I left off. I got really stuck on this one puzzle and it turned out that I was doing it at the wrong angle. It was just a nightmare. So we'll be starting on that right away to try to get our revenge. Let's continue. We are 38 hours in. That sounds about right. Okay. So, as it turns out, the pattern needs to go vertically rather than horizontally. Which actually does make more sense when you look at the picture and what it has visible. So, yeah. Just checking one more little thing. Okay. So yeah, it'll be building vertically, basically. So this block needs to be here, I think? No, one more up. Here. And it looks like it is, yes. Okay. And obviously it has to be a 1 on top. That's a 1 on top, but it's the wrong angle. Gotta have 2 and a 3. So, let's try... That's close. See if I can do that one more time. That's the angle where it needs to be at. No, that's 3 and 5. Can I get it all the way around? 4 and 2 again. Okay, so it's just alternating between 3 and 5 and 4 and 2. So I'm going to roll it that way a little longer, do 2 rolls instead of 1. That's still 4 and 2. maybe 3 rolls? Thanks, IMQM. Yeah, we're back to try to take some revenge on the dice. That's 3 and 5. Ah! We need it to be, 2 and 3. What if I, like, roll it 4 times? Something like that. Get out of my way. I really need to change the angle of this thing. And I have a really hard time. This is wrong. It's 5 and 3 again. I need it to be turned just like a little bit more. That's wrong. Because I do want one to be on top. I just need it to be rotated. So how would I go about doing that? I need to twist it, but of course there is no twisting because that would be far too easy. What if I did... something like this? 4 and 2. This game's so wild. I know, right? It's super fascinating just watching me roll dice around. I'm hoping people find joy in my suffering. Because if this is anything like when I did it last time, that's 4 and 2 again, it took me like 40 minutes to do this one puzzle. And then it turned out that it was the wrong direction. Can you imagine if you could just twist the dice? Yeah, 10 seconds. I found it! Ah, the puzzles are insane. Yes, they are. They are. For sure. Same thing. Okay, so if you go 1, 2... Oh wait, what am I doing? I'm changing the pattern, apparently. Okay, I think I should go back, because I don't want to lose the number on top. Okay. There. That out of the way. Just checking that this isn't like... No, this is actually the exact same direction, so... Yeah, that's actually a different one than we've had before. Hold on, I'm gonna try it on this one. Boom! Okay, yeah. That's it. Alright. Cool. If you're having trouble with one of the dice, switch to the other one. That is my new motto. Okay, so this one needs to be a night shape away. I don't know if they did that on purpose, but that's how I'm remembering it. So, it needs to be here. And what needs to be on top? A 5. Okay. How am I gonna get the 5 on top? Oh my god, go up, please. Half of the challenge with this puzzle is just getting the dice in the right, or moving the dice where you're trying to move it. There. 5's on top. Now we can roll it into place. Like that. And what is the angle? We need a 4 and a 1. Let's try the roll around trick. See if it gets it. Four and a one. 4 and a 1. Heck yeah! Alright, we're already done with blue. Dude, I've been doing this less than 10 minutes and we already got the blue. Clearly I have retained some stuff from my 40-minute stint prior, a week ago. Alright. Hi Duck, how you doing? Okay, so let's go to the archive. Let's go to the green dice. So a 6. We'll do the 6 first, I guess. I don't remember where I'm supposed to go. Okay, underneath this blue one. Try not to go nuts. Was it 4 and 5? No, it was not. Tired, long week, really tired. Well, I hope you can have a nice, relaxing time watching me play with these dice. Oop. 2 and 4. Okay, that's not lining up how I want it. So I'm gonna try the other die. Yeah, I hope so too. I mean, on a certain level, you know, he's just gotta grieve. Right? Two and four. Okay. Alright, that is the new strat. Whenever a dice is not cooperating, we switch dice. You're waiting for the breakdown. Two, 3, and 1. Okay. Oh my god. Oh my god. We're already 2/3. Okay, so we need to switch 3. Is the correct number on top, but not the correct size. So we're gonna try rolling it around, see if that helps. No. Okay, I'm gonna try the other one. Just get over here. Oh my god. Go. Really? What's it supposed to be? Deep breaths. 3. But it needs to be a 2 and a 6. Huh. That'd be pretty funny. Okay, that's that one. Roll these back into place. No. Okay. And then what's the last one gonna be? 4. Alright. Alright. This one out of the way too. No. Yeah, man. 15 minutes! Take that! Take that! Ha indeed, Sigma. Ha indeed. Thank you. All of that training last week really paid off because I had techniques this time instead of just randomly rolling them around. Woo! Got it. And I think last time I definitely spent too long rolling around dice that were not the right dice to use. Well, yeah, then it was an hour. Feeling you could do it. Good job. Have a look at this. Hey, it opened. Gimme. Gimme my reward. A blue memory card. You know what? We're saving the game. Screw this. We're saving. I am never doing that again. We are saving the game. Okay. Oh, wait. No, I'm pretty sure I'm done with that. So, let's go look at other stuff, I guess. No. No more. I can't get it. There's a red memory card behind the glass. So do I need to make it all red, I suppose? I only have 5 moves to complete the puzzle. Huh, I feel like I've done this puzzle somewhere before. That's funny because it wasn't in this lifetime. It was in another path. It was the path where Fi and I were the only 2 left alive. Oh well, it doesn't really matter, I guess. Oh, nope, that's not it. Oh, well, maybe? First try! First try! Did I solve it? Yeah, that must be the answer. Look. Vague recollection of a time everyone died in nightmare scenario. Hey, cool, a puzzle! Glass doors. They're open. Well done. That was some good work, Sigma. Hold on. Give me this. And give me this. Oh, no. Give me this. Looks like some files. It's a binder. Let's have a look. There's only a single piece of paper in here. It says Q Chamber Special AB Game. You found instructions for the Q Chamber's AB game. You can review it by visiting the archive. Okay, let's visit the archive. AB Game Q Edition. Hints for the AB Game Q Edition. 3 people will definitely choose Ally. 3 people will definitely choose Betray. 1 is a mysterious mirror man. He will always do whatever his opponent does. You remember when this was a dice rolling stream, chat? First answer. Strive for 9 with 6 cooperators. Second answer. We must be the only ones to surpass 9. Okay, that's tricky. Alright, we're gonna do this first. It's okay, guys. It's alright, because now I have something worse than dice. We have darts! Are those missiles? They're darts. Look over here. I think that's a green memory card. We can't get it out, though. Glass is covering it. I think we can get some darts out, though. Okay, I'll grab a couple. A bunch of tiny sidewinders, huh? You know, the ones they mount on the underside of fighter planes. These aren't missiles. They're darts. Lots of Pokeball throwing practice under my belt now. It's true. It's true. Not that I'm very good at throwing Pokeballs. That's a dartboard. I remember seeing this before. Come on, who hasn't seen a dartboard before? A fate worse than dice? Does it truly exist? No, that's not what I mean. I feel like I've seen it somewhere in this building before. It's just, this board is different from a normal dartboard, you know? Let's try it out. What do you mean, try it out? Isn't that obvious? There's only 2 ways to use a dartboard. Either you use it to hold a pizza, or you throw darts at it. You've got some darts, don't you, Sigma? Maybe you could try throwing them. Get a score of 100 with 3 darts. However, the first dart must land in the green area, the second in the blue area, and the third in the red area. To throw a dart at a particular area, grab it by pressing the X button, then release the dart on the area where you'd like it to land. Huh? That's weird. I could have sworn I've seen these darts before somewhere. Whatever. Time for some darts. Okay, so I gotta do green first, and we gotta add up to 100. Green and blue and red. That won't be enough. Close, but not quite. What if I did 14 times 2? Is that more than 8 times 3? It is! I mean, this time they gave me the instructions. These are all repeat puzzles, but they're different. Like for instance, that was extremely easy because they told me the rules, whereas in, What's-A-Face, I had to figure out what the rules were. I had to figure out what it wanted. Ha, piece of cake, you see that? My dart skills are undeniable. Yes, I saw it quite clearly. It was very nice. Do you really think you had to stand the whole 2 meters and 37 centimeters away from the dartboard, though? I'm a fair man. My high school voted me most likely to be a judge, you know. Okay. That's great and all, but look. See the display case? I thought that was going to be horrible. But no, only the dice puzzle was terrible. That was actually extremely easy. You're gonna have to pull out all the stops on this job. You sound like you're in a heist movie. Should I have worn a cat suit? Temioji has some weirdness about him. I think I just threw up a little. Besides, everyone in a heist movie wears a sweet suit? Oh, a sweet suit. Like, no fate worse than dice confirmed. Okay, let's go over here. A screen, huh? There's nothing on it. And it doesn't do anything while I touch it. How do we turn it on? Hell if I know. I don't see a button or a card slot or anything. Not a lot we can do if we can't turn it on. Might as well leave it alone for now. Okay, what about this? I think I've seen something like this before. Trial of puzzles, your mind won't be the same. This was where the hologram came out that one time. Oh, you mean one of those exercise machines where you twist your hips around? No, I don't think so. This doesn't look like a fitness machine to me. Kinda ruins it when you take it so seriously. This damn it. I can't remember. Okay. Maybe I have to find more stuff? Did I not unlock everything? Seems like maybe there could be more over here. I think I haven't unlocked everything yet, though. 1, 2, 3. If the 3 adjacent are all hit, and the 3 adjacent to this are all... Wait, how can it be 3? There's only 2 adjacent to it. Maybe I need to refresh myself with the instructions. I think if I look at the floor, it'll tell me again. There are winning and losing panels on the wall. The cube can help you find the winning panels. When the winning panels, and only the winning panels, are highlighted in cyan, the system will activate. How you find the winning panels. When you select a panel on the cube, it will display a number. Each surrounding panel will also display a number. This number indicates the number of winning panels that border each panel. For example, sorry, I can't really read this out loud, but I have to kind of study it. Okay, so it doesn't just count bordering. It'll also count if it itself is a winning panel. Because if you see the bottom rightmost one, it's a 3, but only 2 of the adjacent panels are actually winning. It's counting itself. So that kind of changes things. That appears on the cube is different for each side. I know the directions. Adjacent walls don't provide hints. Oh! There are a total of 8 puzzles hidden in the walls. So yeah, I haven't found all of them, I don't think. Okay. Alright. Okay. So, definitely this one. Going back and forth a lot. Okay, up here we already got. That's the bookshelf. We already got that. Oh no. I didn't want the instructions again. Suddenly just slid out from the wall. Ha 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 ha! What the heck's this ridiculously huge thing? There's a screen down here. Looks like this is the only part you can actually interact with. But it's dark, there's nothing on it. There's some card slots underneath the screen. They look just like the ones on the polling machines in the AB rooms. So that means we need to put some memory cards in here, right? Yeah, like the one you've got in your hand right now. Green card, huh? Well, let's see if anything happens when I put it in the green slot. Blue card, huh? Well, let's see if anything happens when I put it in the blue slot. This red card, huh? Let's see if anything happens when I put it in the red slot. Would you look at that? That was anticlimactic? Sorry. Looks like you turned it on. Yeah, the dice was like the final boss. Us, A and B, are all pairs consisting of two people. C, D, and E are solos consisting of a single person. First, move the pairs A and B to the blank areas on the left under pair. Next, move the solos C, D, and E to the blank areas on the left over solo. Press the X button to grab and move the letter icons. Okay. A pair and a solo, aligned vertically with verses between them, will face off against one another in the AB game. You can still move icons even after you've placed them. Once an opponent has been selected, the game will begin. Choose the vote for the us pair, either ally or betray. The results of your match will be displayed along with the results of the other teams. Your story is making me think I should buy my own candy from now on instead of trying to win it. If correct number of people reach the target BP after playing 3 rounds, the game will be completed. Okay. Hi Dark Angel Master, how you doing today? We're playing some Virtue's Last Reward in the middle of a puzzle room. So I'm just gonna put them in order to see what happens. Okay, C did betray us, so I don't want to go up against them again. Okay, so if we want to do the goal of only we get out, we go against D. Because D seems to always be allying. Oh, E got to 9 also. If I put them on every spot, I will solve it. I don't understand what you mean. Okay, so it looks like D always allies, while it's possible that E always betrays. So I'm gonna try this way. have, right? Ugh, E kept getting to 9. So maybe I should be putting E against A? Obviously, I'm keeping D for myself. Okay. Okay, E and A going against each other. And then B and C going against each other. Alright, and then we'll do the same thing. That's the same thing, right? Oh, and then I need to stop them from getting to 9. B and C, that is. So I think that means I have to swap up the pairs. Yep, we did it! Oh, we got the secret first, of course. Looks like that was the answer. I knew it! That looks like a password to the safe. No one told me there was going to be math today. We did it! This should get us into that safe, but it's not the key. It's only the secret. So... oh, headset, why you do this to me? Okay. So now, we have to get 6 people out, I think. If I recall. Oh, not that. File. Strive for 9 with 6 cooperators. Okay. My next game after this one, I'm gonna do, like, once I finish Virtue's Last Reward, I'm planning to play the 3rd game in the series. Yeah, D appears to be basically Luna. A and B are gonna get stuck. So this is obviously not the correct way. I'm not sure which one of these is the mirror person. Hold on, I'm gonna back out and read the instructions again. 3 people will choose... 3 people will definitely choose ally. 3 people will definitely choose betray. But 1 is a mysterious mirror man. He will always do whatever his opponent does. Strive for 9 with 6 cooperators. I'm gonna eat some more chips while I think about this. Or they shall fall. challenging, though. I never thought about it before. Are there any characters that fill the Mirror Man description? I don't think so. It's, right? At least they never play against me. Dio betrays in almost all instances. The only time when he doesn't is when his partner does ally, so... yeah. Three people will definitely choose ally. Three people will definitely choose betray. One is a mysterious mirror man. He will always do whatever his opponent does. Let's see what E does if we ally. I think A might be the mirror. Oh, no, they're not. They are not. So I think the best thing to do first is to discern who the mirror is. It's not E either. Could be B? I think it's B. Because when they went up against D, they allied, and when they went up against C, they betrayed. I believe we're getting close, yeah. So if I do think that B will copy, C betrays, so I'll at least keep them at 3. Oh wait, no. C allied. What? This is rough. It's like I should start taking notes. So... So D always allies, seems like. I mean, we could test that by pairing D against other stuff. Did D just betray? I feel like D just betrayed. Do I get credit for getting 4 people out? I do! Got it! Screen change color. So, would this be, could this be, should this be? Oh, there's different symbols now in different places. We found a safe password. Let's go to the safe. Hooray. Thank you. Let's go to the passcode. Sun, sun, moon. Okay. Good job. You opened it. Well done. Ooh, I earned a trophy, redacted. Because I think I got all the secrets. I think this is the last puzzle room. Who's ready for an incredible info dump of plot? Oh, snaps! We're gonna get the end of the game. Moon, moon, moon. Okay. I mean, we've got 2 hours, so even if the ending is 2 hours long, we can, we might finish tonight. It's open. Okay then, let's see what's in here. First off, 2 star key cards. We can use these to play the AB game as many times as we want. Hold on. Those keys are important, but look at this. You think we're likely to finish, but we'll probably still run much of the stream time if I'm right. Trophy earned, a consummate collection. Excelivir! The Radical 6 cure! Oh, thank goodness. I don't know what to say. Quark is gonna be okay. Is he crying? Alright, let's get out of here. We need to get this stuff to Quark and Alice. Yeah, you're right. This key should do the trick. Let's get moving. But what about this screen? It's blank. I don't see any buttons or anything, so might as well leave it alone for now. Alright, I guess we'll leave. He's not crying, he's just chopping onions in the escape room. The door's locked. It says lock. You guys ready? All set here. Go for it. Alright, 3, 2, 1. 2, 3. Stop that! Jeez! One more time. 3, 2, 1. Okay, so now I'm convinced that Tenmyoji is Junpei because... Oh, Doctor of Escapology! Is the trophy I just earned. Because I also earned Escapist. The reason why I say that is because Junpei made a very similar joke when they were trapped in the freezer in 999. Where he counted up the wrong way.
It opened.
We should get back to the Floor A warehouse then.
Nope, hologram just activated. Hey, wait, did you hear something?
What?
You didn't hear it? It came from over there. It sounded like something turning on. See, I told you. The screen wasn't on before. Oh, okay.
You're right.
Might have checked
Guess
it
it
out.
was set to turn on when we opened the door.
It looks like an authentication screen. I think we need to put in an ID and a password.
Yeah, but what?
I think I know. That was when I noticed the illustration. The lion is eating the sun. The lion is eating the sun. The lion is eating the... Memento mori. Remember death. If the 9th lion ate the sun. Six, 7, 8, 9. Oh, of course. This was the real 9th lion. But if that was the case... Pretty sure the Quark ending gave us what we needed. Kurashiki. Jumpy doll. What you got for us, Akane? What you got for us?
Sigma, look!
Your...
Akane. Her name is Akane Kurashiki. I've been looking for her for a very long time.
He walked toward her. Slowly, carefully, almost as if he was afraid of scaring her away, he reached out.
She's a hologram.
Tenmyoji squeezed his eyes shut.
Akane.
He closed his hand around empty air and let it fall to his side. Notice he went right for the boobs. There was a moment of sad silence, and then she began to speak.
I see you finally arrived. I've been waiting for you. Well, I suppose that's slightly inaccurate.
So, Akane, why did you do this to us this time?
What you see now is a holographic message I recorded before you came here. Unfortunately, this means I will not be able to answer your questions, at least not directly.
Tenmyoji has had very clear opinions on the term EU.
I hope you'll understand. Now, where to begin? probably have a great many questions. What day is it? Where are we? Who is Zero? And what does he have to do with Akane Kurashiki? But I imagine there is one question that rises above all the others. Why were we brought here? The answer to that is simple. Everything that has happened here is part of our plan. All of this was required for the success of the AB project. I assume you've heard the name by now, at least. In any event, you were all needed in order to execute our plan.
All of us.
The nonary game was necessary for the same reason. Your question now, I imagine, is just what is this AB project? The answer to that is also simple. Allow me to explain. We created the AB project for one purpose: to transport the consciousnesses of two people into the past. Those two people are you, Sigma, and you, Phi.
How did she know that we would be the ones in this room? Okay. What do you mean, the past? The moment the words were out of my mouth, I realized no one there could answer the question. Not Phi, not Tenmyoji, and certainly not a pre-recorded hologram.
Have you figured out what this room is? I assume you saw the Q on the door. It stands for quantum. That makes this the quantum room.
It took me a moment to realize she had changed subjects without even pausing. There was nothing we could do, of course, but I still felt a twinge of frustration.
Take a look at the rear of the room.
I mean, we have been sending our consciousness back and making different choices. But then why not everybody? Why just the two of us? Like, why are there other people in the game? I mean, obviously she can't answer the questions, but I'm asking them anyway.
Do you see that large enclosure? That houses our quantum computer. The systems that control this entire facility run on that machine. That includes the construct you refer to as Zero-G, as well as the golems. All of them do their thinking in that box. Isn't that strange, though? It seems contrary to how we perceive the world. The body, the thing that you see and interact with, is somewhere else. But the mind and all its thoughts are in this box. Perhaps it isn't so strange, though. Perhaps humans are the same, with our minds and thoughts existing separate from our bodies. Our core is in our head, of course. We all have individual brains, think individual thoughts, and act according to individual wills. That makes communication difficult, though. So, we're forced to rely on inefficient mediums, like language, photographs, non-verbal cues, etc., to transmit information. Each one of us is an individual, and we have no direct connection to anyone else. But, is that really true? In the dimensions we are most familiar with, yes, it is. If we look at things from another higher dimension, however, we may all be connected after all.
The morphogenetic field.
Like the branches of a tree, or a rhizome. Imagine a horizontal cross-section of the root system of a large tree.
Maybe you could get back to me and Phi, thanks.
All you can see are the spots where the roots intersect the plane of your cross-section. In the two dimensions you see, the roots all appear to be individual things, with no connection to one another.
I think they're trying to explain, just not very well. Like she said, it's really hard to transmit information.
But this isn't the case. If you expand your view and look at the root system in 3 dimensions, instead of only 2, you see the truth. All the roots join together at the trunk. In 2 dimensions, they appear to be separate. But if you look at the roots from a
I hope my
third higher
just like
dimension,
horribly loud. They're so delicious, though.
you see things that might appear to be separate from one another in 3 dimensions one another, if you look at them in 4 dimensions, doesn't that at least seem like it could be a possibility? I believe that is how human consciousness actually works. Well, I'm not the only one, I suppose. Zero and I share that belief.
Morphogenetic field theory.
Tenmyoji mumbled something that sounded like nonsense. I opened my mouth to ask him what it meant, but Akane was already talking again.
Now, when I talk about a 4th dimension...
I don't think so. If you have any questions, I can probably answer them.
I'm referring to the 4th dimension used in Minkowski space-time. Let's start with a single dimension, where all that exists is a point. Connect points to one another, and you have a line. In one dimension, the only surface you can create is that, a line. But move
That'd
to
be awful.
2 dimensions, and create more lines, and you can create shapes. These are 2-dimensional surfaces. Move up to 3 dimensions, and you can connect these shapes to one another and form 3-dimensional objects. Now you have a 3-dimensional surface, which encompasses a volume of space.
So I'm gonna save just because you guys are making me paranoid. Just a little paranoia.
Connect 3-dimensional objects to one another, and you formed a 4-dimensional object, which encompasses a volume of both space and time.
Yeah.
It is on that 4th dimensional axis that our minds are connected. If that was true, then what would prevent anyone from sending their consciousness backward or forward in time? That theory is the foundation of the AB project. The A represents after, and the B represents before.
Oh.
It probably sounds silly to you. A ridiculous story made up by a mad old woman. But look at what's happened to you. You've seen many different worlds and timelines, haven't you, Sigma? And what about you, Phi? I know you have too. Am I wrong? Tenmyoji should know what I'm talking about as well.
No one needs to know my thoughts in the future. And the
I
past.
believe you experienced something very similar nearly half a century ago. You sent your consciousness to the past to help save a little girl's life. It was a long time ago, but perhaps you still remember.
Definitely Junpei.
Yeah, of course I do. How could I forget? That little girl was you, Akane.
Suddenly it felt like Phi and I were outsiders, trespassing on something we had no right to see. Tenmyoji's face was taut with emotion as he looked into Akane's eyes. It seemed almost like she was looking back at him.
Now, unfortunately, my time is up. The final stage of the project will begin very soon. I need to go prepare the next time we meet. I can tell you the rest of the story, so come and find me. I'll be waiting. One last thing, the cat in the box. Is it alive or is it dead? Sigma, Phi, you will decide its fate. Goodbye.
Wait! Akane, wait!
Oh, Tenmyoji, I can almost see you.
Once asked the question, if you clone yourself and have sex with them, is that incest or self-pleasure?
You don't need to worry.
Oh.
Everything is going to be okay. I will see you again one day. I promise. But I'm going to have to ask you to wait just a little longer.
Wait! Akane!
It's funny that she knew that he would react that way. And then she was gone. Temyoji collapsed to his knees, his back hunched and shaking. I saw tears land on the white-knuckled fist he pressed against his thighs. I like how it's 999 style art instead of the 3D thing. I kept quiet. What was there to say? Fi and I looked at each other and nodded silently. With a shaking hand, Temyoji pulled a photograph out of his pocket. It was a picture of a girl. After all that we'd been through, her smile was enough to break your heart. We made our way to the warehouse on the floor A and met up with the others. It took only a few minutes to decide to head to the infirmary. As soon as we arrived, we began to treat Alice and Quark for Radical 6. I gave Luna the Excalibur that I found in the queue room. She quickly prepared it and... injected Alice and Quark.
Thank goodness. It will take some time for them to recover completely, but they should be fine. Good.
Indeed.
Thank you, Luna. And thanks for finding the medicine, you guys. Thank you so much.
Don't sweat it.
No need to thank us.
Temyoji said nothing, just walked over to Quark's unconscious body. He took the small boy's hand in his own and held it tight. I could see tears at the corners of his eyes as he turned away from us. Suddenly I remembered. Dio. Where had he gone? It didn't take me long for it to find him. He was sprawled unconscious on the floor beneath the sink. Handcuffs.
Oh, we found those in the crew quarters.
Hey, whoever said that was right. That's where the handcuffs were from, was crew quarters.
Before you returned, we went to check on the bomb in room 2, and we found them there. Of course, the bomb was indeed turned off. Thank you again for dealing with them. You are, quite literally, lifesavers. You have my eternal gratitude.
I coughed awkwardly and looked pointedly around the room. I glanced over at Fi to see if she was doing the same thing. Sigma and Fi seem a lot alike in some ways. After that, we headed back to Floor A warehouse to play the AB game. Specifically, me, Fi, Kay, and Luna. Clover and Temyoji decided to remain in the infirmary just in case something happened with Alice, Quark, or Dio. Luna would represent Clover's team. With Quark and Dio sleeping, Kay would represent their team by default, which left me, Fi, and Temyoji. You should vote.
No, I'll let you handle it. I chose Betray in the last round. You probably don't trust me right now.
What? That doesn't matter now.
Excuse me. I apologize for interrupting, but I think you should be the one to vote in the next round fight.
Why?
You already have 9 BP. There's no reason for you to choose Betray now. You see?
Hey, you're acting like I might actually try and betray her.
Not necessarily.
What does it matter what he's suggesting? We're almost there. We just have to play the AB game 3 more times. Then we can all get 9 points. But that means each representative has to choose ally all 3 times.
Yeah, to get Temyoji and Luna up to 9.
Okay, I'll vote. You sure you're alright with this, Sigma?
Yeah, I trust you. I handed her the star key.
Shall we open the doors?
Yeah, it's true, she has no incentive to vote betray, because if I'm not voting.
An ambidex gate has been opened. 45 minutes remain until ambidex game polling closes.
Oh, right. We have to wait for the deadline.
Oh. Well, we could vote earlier, but then each voter would be stuck inside the AB room for 45 minutes.
Okay, let's go back to the infirmary then.
I agree. Please, lead the way.
Luna and Kay set off toward the yellow door. I was about to follow when...
Hold on. I just remembered something.
What?
The AB room on the left. In one of the other histories, she...
Oh, yeah. You're right. Akane's body was in there. What does this mean? Why didn't we find her body this time?
Maybe because she wasn't murdered.
But how? When did history change?
Do you remember what Akane said?
The cat in the box. Is it alive or is it dead, Sigma? Fine. You will decide its fate.
The Schrodinger's cat thing.
Exactly.
I wonder what she meant about us deciding its fate.
Perhaps she was saying her own fate wasn't decided yet. The history where she's alive and the history where she's murdered are both real right now.
What? No, that's impossible. We've already opened the box. We opened the door to this AB room and there was no body.
No, we haven't opened the box. We haven't found a body. But we haven't found her alive yet either. In other words, we haven't actually observed her. The hologram was a recording from before this game started.
The next time we meet, I can tell you the rest of the story. So come and find me. I'll be waiting.
Where was Akane now? Where was she waiting for us? Or what if she wasn't anywhere now? What if she was waiting for us in another timeline? Or what if she was waiting for us in the past? Was that even possible? You mess with time, the rules are simple. If she was, what would that mean? To be continued. What? 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 A new destination has been added to the flowchart. What? Okay, I guess we'll save. A new destination has been added to the flowchart. Wait, what? Okay, we're going back to the past, apparently. Huh. Ugh. Ow. Ow, 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 ow. Damn it. Feels like my head's gonna explode. Wait. Oh, where the hell am I? Looks like an elevator, but...
No, this is one of the AB rooms.
Yeah. Ooh, who the hell are you? And what the hell's an AB room?
Damn. I guess you did lose your memory after all.
Memory? Memory. I like how it says girl instead of phi. I remember. You're phi. She grinned. When is this?
Check your bracelet.
It's a red pair. BP is 3.
Mine's the same.
Does this mean this is the beginning of the game? We've gone back to when we first woke up in the AB room.
No, not quite. I think we woke up a little earlier this time.
How do you know?
Push the buttons on the side of your bracelet.
2 hours, 15 minutes.
We didn't wake up this long before the primary doors opened last time. I think we're about an hour early.
Wait a minute. If you're right...
Yeah, Akane might still be alive. We got back before Dio killed her, I think.
Oh, dear God. Then...
Right. We're here for one reason.
To stop her from getting killed.
Exactly.
Let's move! We need to get out of here
Don't need
fast.
to tell me twice. Let's go.
Wait, do I have to do the escape room again? Wait. Can't I just do the safe? Moon, moon, moon. You need to remember the password for the safe. We figured it out last time. Once the password has been found, it will never change. Going back to the past or changing timelines won't alter it. Awesome. Wait, no. Password. Moon, moon, moon. Awesome! We don't have to do the room again. There, it's open. Good work. Hurry up, grab Cracker. Cracker? Ah, damn, I made key. How the hell? Just shut up and do it. Just keep it safe. Alright. Let's get out of here. Puzzle rooms are for the weak. Alright, get in here. For God's sake, just do it already. No need to yell. Alright, good. Looks like that worked. Ready, Fi? What do you think? I know. I don't need to ask every time, right? Then why the hell are you asking? Hurry up and... Right. I'm going. 10, 9, 8, 1, done. Hey, you pushed the button. Bite me. You were taking too long. We're on a schedule here. We found it! Fi and I climbed through the hatch and out onto the top of the AB room. It took us only a moment to spot them. Akane! Behind her was Dio. He was moving quickly and quietly, a knife glinting in his right hand. Shit! Wait, but if we do this, then it's gonna... No! Because if we do this, then it's gonna change everything that we've done! There's no time to yell her. I scrambled down to the top of the AB room. Fi wasn't following me. When I looked back, she was still standing on the roof. Fi, what the hell are you doing? Get down here and... Before I could finish, she moved. She ran across the roof, launched herself in the air. Super jump!
He's fine, just unconscious.
I bent down and held my fingers in front of his mouth. He was still breathing.
I don't think he saw me. He probably has no idea what happened to him.
Guy went down like a sack of potatoes.
He had it coming.
He did. I heard footsteps come to a stop right in front of us. I looked up.
So you came. I've been waiting for you. You're here to hear the rest, right?
Wait. Just... wait a minute. What in the hell is your deal? How can you be so calm? If we hadn't shown up just now, you'd...
Have been stabbed in the heart by this young man and died. Yes. Although, that reminds me, I haven't thanked you yet.
I mean, it's probably not as bad as burning to death.
Thank you very much. I very much appreciate you saving me.
What?
Hold on. How do you know about being stabbed by Dio? Are you an Esper too?
Yes, indeed I am. I am able to jump through time, just like you.
Then what the hell were you thinking? If you knew he was going to stab you, why were you going to let him do it?
Because I had to.
You what?
Think back.
Incinerate means burn, by the way, letters. Oh, 999. Think back.
Why are you here? If I hadn't been killed by Dio, no one else would have been murdered. Consequently, your own abilities would never have manifested.
Because Dio was the one who killed everybody.
I did explain, didn't I? The purpose of the AB project was to send the two of you to the past. Or your minds, at least. In order for that to happen, some death was necessary. When a human brain is faced with danger, its processing speed increases. Information is processed more quickly, and time almost seems to slow. A few seconds can feel like an eternity.
I feel like we've heard this before.
Unfortunately, that in itself isn't enough to send oneself through time. The amplitude of the consciousness is simply too small. In order to increase the amplitude, we need to slow down the brain before the increase happens. It's a little like a slingshot. You pull back on the rubber band and then let go. The potential energy you stored in the band is released and converted into kinetic energy. That's what fires the bullet out of the slingshot. Now, while a slingshot can only fire in one direction, your mind isn't similarly limited. When the bullet of your consciousness is fired from the slingshot of your brain, it travels past the three-dimensional world and into the four-dimensional one. From that perspective, time is no longer fixed. In other words, you can travel to the future, the past, whenever you like. Your consciousness has been released from the three-dimensional cage. In order for that to happen, I had to infect you with Radical 6.
Whoa, what?
We're infected with Radical 6?
I knew this already, but yeah.
Yes. Don't you remember, Sigma? Luna should have told you about it in another timeline.
Are you sure? Infecting all of these people with such a horrible disease?
Every single one of you has been infected. Well, apart from Luna, of course. Unfortunately, it was necessary. We needed to slow your minds in order to store up your potential energy. Then we provided a dire situation that would accelerate your processing speed.
Yeah, pretty casually.
The result is what you are now experiencing. Your consciousness now occupies four-dimensional space-time. Even that, however, wasn't enough. You had the ability to travel, but your memories could easily be lost during the trip. If the project was to succeed, you had to be able to retain everything you learned in each reality. That was the reason you were forced to jump so many times.
Practice!
With each jump, your ability to remember improved.
Okay. But, so here's what I don't understand. Yeah, we went back to the past, and we saved Akane, but the problem was manufactured. Like, if they hadn't done the project, Dio wouldn't have come to kill her, we wouldn't have had to go back to the past in the first place to save her. I think she's still gonna get to the point.
Eventually, you would be able to retain everything.
Consider death a tutorial of sorts.
That is why we made you play the A-B game. That was why you had to select different chromatic doors. By forcing specific choices, we could cause you to make more jumps.
That's why the game is so long. I get it. I think I finally understand. Well, okay, there are a lot of things I don't understand, but all of what you've just told me makes sense. You did all of this so that Phi and I could jump through four-dimensional space with our memories intact. But why? Right?
Yes.
But why did you need us to do that? People have died for this. I mean, let's count how many different ways people died. Murder, antimatter explosion, suicide. I've died. So has Phi. So have you. So why would you do all this? What does it matter that Phi and I jump through time?
Haven't I told you?
No, you haven't.
Death was unavoidable. You were all destined to die. Sacrifices had to be made for the sake of the project.
I already know all of that. What I'm asking you is why? What is so goddamn important that it's worth all of this?
Ah. I'm sure you'll figure it out eventually.
Akane, just frickin' tell us! Stop being coy!
What? Just when is eventually?
In a future not very far from now.
Memento Mori. I kind of just wanted someone to know what dying is like. Bullshit. That's not good enough. Why can't you tell us now? Instead of answering, Akane knelt down next to Dio and picked his knife up off the floor.
I'm going to keep this with me.
Don't change the subject.
But it's almost time.
What are you talking about? We've got plenty of time.
No. In a few moments, you'll return to the original timeline.
What?
This is the way it has to be. Don't fight it. Logomorph.
Yes.
Logomorph?
You call him Zero Jr. His official designation is Logomorph. Logomorph, this is an order. Unlock my bracelet.
Compliance.
Put it on Dio.
Now, everything is in place. I have put bracelet onto Dio. All we have to do is place his body in the 5th AB room, the second one from the right.
That's the one Quark is in, right?
Correct. I will move him. I will also put your bodies back into the 3rd AB room. Once that's done, I will reset its puzzle to an unsolved state.
Why do you need to do all that?
To recreate the history that you remember. Your consciousness is about to leave your body and return to the future. Your body will be emptied, and your other consciousness will jump back in. If your bodies aren't back in the 3rd AB room by then, it would be bad.
So we're trying to avoid a paradox, basically.
So you're saying some version of us is going to wake up in that room and repeat the same history again? Well, I guess this could actually be our 2nd or 3rd time.
You are exactly correct. Lastly, I'm going to leave this with you.
She paused and pulled something out of her pocket. It was a small key attached to a string.
I'll tie it onto your ankle so that you won't lose it. All right, Sigma?
What's it say on there?
Tu fui ego eris.
It's Latin. It means, what you are, I was. What I am, you will be.
Yes.
What am I supposed to do with it?
It will help you meet someone who's very important.
What?
Go. Return to the future. You won't be alone. I will be at your side, watching over you. Now hurry.
Wait, I still... Nope. We're gonna loosh through the forbidden field again. To be continued. Alright. A new destination's been added to the flowchart. This is pretty weird, but we're gonna do it anyway. Okay. I guess we go here now.
Oh, looks like you're awake.
Is this the infirmary?
Why are we here?
Do you know what happened at the AB gate?
Kay and I went back to the infirmary, but...
We waited, and the two of you never returned.
So we went to the warehouse to check on you.
We found you passed out in front of the AB rooms.
Kay and I hurried back here with you.
Oh, so hopefully we voted first? Do you remember what happened just now?
You mean what happened a long time ago?
Yeah, you got him pretty good, huh?
Yeah, I remember all right.
She's gonna cherish that memory.
Hey, what are you guys talking about?
Quark?
What am I? Chopped liver?
Alice!
Back among the conscious and not psychotic, huh?
Yeah, thanks. Grandpa told me what you did. Thanks for finding the medicine for us.
No problem. All in a day's work. Although, I wouldn't mind a little swimsuit action.
Really grabbing at straws here, aren't you?
Hey, I wasn't talking to Quark. That was offer for Alice.
Not really my point.
Whatever. Forget about that. Now that you guys are awake, all we gotta do is open the number 9 door.
What are you talking about?
Look at your bracelet.
It says 10. I have 10 BP.
I've got 15 BP? That means I got 6 more points while I was out.
But how?
You've been asleep for more than 2 hours. We've played the AB game 3 times.
3 times?
Yes. Of course, the color and group assignments were shuffled around each time. But no matter who voted, everyone chose Ally.
We're all gonna get out. This is awesome.
And now all of us have enough to leave.
So even though we may have missed voting, Tenmyoji must have voted for us. I was stunned. How had everyone cooperated long enough to raise all of our BP past 9? Was it because Akane hadn't been killed? Without a death to start things off, maybe we'd been less suspicious of one another. Or could the bombs have had something to do with it? Probably both. We'd all joined forces against Dio, and Phi and I had been able to disarm all of them. All of us had banded together against a common enemy and overcome a tremendous threat. Perhaps that had strengthened our bond. Which I had to admit would be somewhat ironic. After all, Dio had planted the bombs that forced us all to work together against him. This must have been what Akane was talking about.
Haven't I told you death was unavoidable? Sacrifices had to be made for the sake of the project.
Come on, let's open the door and get out of here!
Wait. What about him? After some discussion, we decided to leave Dio behind. Aw, Alice was the only holdout. She complained about wanting to take him back to her superiors, but after I mentioned that they'd come back to investigate after we'd escaped and deal with Dio then, she reluctantly complied.
Alright, let's get going.
Wait, shouldn't I remember that we all have Radical 6, and that we should probably treat ourselves? There might be medicine outside, too, though. Everybody ready? I'm gonna open it.
Yes, just get on with it.
Everyone else swallowed and nodded. I grabbed the lever and pulled it down. We'll just walk it off. Well, there might be some in that town. Because remember, Dio was leading us to a town or settlement. There might be some there.
The number 9 door has been opened. It will remain open for 9 seconds.
All right, everybody, let's move. I didn't need to tell them twice. The room inside was clearly a loading elevator. It looked sort of like a large plate on top of a huge pedestal. We ran to the center of the plate and turned around. The number 9 door stood wide open.
2, 1, 0. The number 9 door is closing.
I wonder if Akane escaped the facility before it got locked down. She would have had time.
The number 9 door has closed. This ends the nonary game. Thank you for your participation. As the game is over, all doors other than the number 9 door have been unlocked.
It skipped the bit about escape is not possible. Please enjoy your stay. Hello, Cotillion the Rope. We are just finishing Virtue's Last Reward. I am pretty sure this is the end. alert for sure. Yeah, we put in, what, 36 hours? 38 hours into this game?
Looks like we did it.
Yes, we should keep moving.
Beyond the door was a wide hallway that ended in a very solid wall. To the left, we found a very familiar-looking door. We pushed it open and went in. Well, if you are interested in the story, I do have all of the videos of it on my YouTube channel, if you're curious. The pressure exchange chamber.
You know what this place is?
Yeah, sort of. This whole facility is pressurized, apparently. I think the idea is to keep the air outside and consequently the virus from getting inside. That means that if we want to go out, we have to decompress so that we can match outside air pressure. This room here is where you prepare for going into the actual pressure exchange room. You see all the suits along the wall? I figure we need to put those on and head to the decompression room downstairs.
Whoa! Hold on a minute. You're saying the air outside is full of that horrible virus?
Yeah, that's what it seems like. Of course, according to Akane, we were all already infected with Radical 6, so the whole room seemed a little pointless.
Why? How did all this happen?
Did they...
No, that's not possible.
We've come this far. We can't turn back now. Let's go outside. There's no way to know what's really going on until we do.
All right.
I wonder if the suit will fit over his armor. No one else objected. We all donned the protective suits and headed downstairs to the decompressing room. As soon as we were all inside, the process began. No big deal, I love Radical 6. It's my fave. Through my helmet, I could hear the soft hiss of air being sucked out of the room. We stood there for several minutes, waiting for the process to finish. At last it did, and we heard the door begin to open. Beyond it was another decompression chamber. We repeated the process 2 more times before we reached the final door and opened it. The dead, bleak landscape wasn't a surprise for me. I'd seen it before in another timeline. The others hadn't, however, and although I couldn't see their faces through the visors of their helmets, I heard more than a few gasps over the radio. For a few long moments, we just stood there, astonished.
Where the hell are we?
The desert, I guess?
I figured that out. I mean, which one?
I don't know, but I think I know what day it is. Look at the moon. It's red, right? That means today's the total lunar eclipse.
So?
Remember the astronomy magazine in the lounge? Well, the next eclipse like this was going to be on December 31st, 2028. So...
Wait a minute. Let me get this straight. Are you suggesting we were sleeping for a week after we were abducted?
I think it's much worse than that.
I think so.
I don't think it's the same lunar eclipse. Wherever we were must have been far away from any city. The air was clearer than I'd ever seen it. And the stars, the sky was full of them, more stars than I'd ever seen in my life. I could even spot the hazy arm of the Milky Way. But the most striking feature was the moon. It was blood red and massive, much bigger in fact than I remembered it being. Is it like Mars or something? Are we on like... Then as I watched, a black spot began to move across its surface. It was hard to see the details, but it looked circular. The spot continued to move across the moon, heading for the right edge. What's that?
The moon. Well, the moon's shadow, actually.
The moon's shadow? I frowned. That didn't make any sense.
Zero told me to stay quiet. I think he was worried I'd spill the beans on his operation. He said if I didn't toe the line, he wouldn't just kill me. And I agreed, like an idiot, and brought Quark with me, just so I could see her. Such an idiot. So, that being the case, might as well start with this. I meant what I said before. That up there is the moon's shadow.
What the hell are you saying?
Think about it. If that's the moon's shadow, then what's it falling on?
That's Earth?
What?
Yeah.
We're on the moon?
It's not the red moon you get from a lunar eclipse. Then again, this isn't a lunar eclipse. It's a solar eclipse. Anybody in the black spot down there is looking up at the moon, covering the sun.
What? No way. If that's the Earth, then where the hell are we? We're on the moon.
The moon, of course. This is the lunar surface. We were just inside a moon base.
Phi doesn't have superpowers. It's low gravity. It's low gravity. That's how she could jump that high. Oh my god.
No way. No, you've got to be lying.
How did she know though? I mean, I guess you just know things, right?
How do you expect us to believe that? This can't be the moon.
Yeah, that's pretty ridiculous. Besides, if this was the moon, how do you explain the gravity? The moon only has 1/6 of the Earth's gravity. So what's this?
She picked up a rock and dropped it.
See, that looked perfectly normal.
Yes, it looked that way.
Luna?
You were right about the gravity in a way.
I like that Sigma and Phi get to this point and they think they know everything, and then Tenmyoji's just like, screw you guys, you don't know a thing.
I was one of the people who knew this wasn't Earth. Well, I suppose I'm not people, if we're being honest, but
Excuse me? What?
please just listen. Alice, you were infected with Radical 6. Then we gave you the Accelavir, which cured you. The Radical 6 isn't completely gone, though. Some of its symptoms stick around for a while.
What symptoms?
Well, Radical 6 can slow down your brain's processing speed by the root of 1/6. It can take a while for your brain to get back up to speed. Every one of us has been infected. In other words, all of our brains have been processing information at a much lower speed.
So, we're all talking like this, but it sounds normal because we're all slow.
If you evaluated the root of 1/6, you'll get a number close to 0.408. That means our brains are running at something slightly less than half speed. As you said before, the moon's gravity is about 1/6 that of Earth's.
Dude, I wonder if they slowed down Luna's processing speed so that she wouldn't go nuts at how slow all of us were moving.
The time that it takes for an object to fall is inversely proportional to the square root of the gravitational acceleration. Since the gravity is lower on the moon, that means the time increases. I guess that's a little technical. Let me give you an example. Say you drop an apple from a height of 4.9 meters. It will take approximately 1 second to hit the ground. On the moon, however, that time would be 1 second times root 6, which would be approximately 2.45 seconds. I used 4.9 meters because it matches up with the acceleration of gravity nicely. But it could be anything. The gravity constant is, well, a constant. You could drop something from 10 centimeters or 10 meters and it would be the same.
Imagine a computer that knows the solutions to these puzzles, watching these apes flail around at half speed. It's like a comedy, right?
Does that make sense? So now we've established that on the moon, things fall root 6 times slower than they do on Earth. That being the case, what would happen if someone's brain slowed down by root 1/6? To them, 2.45 seconds would feel like 1 second. 4.9 seconds would feel like 2. But it's not hypothetical. That's what's been happening to every one of us.
Wait, you're saying that's the reason we didn't notice the weaker gravity?
Are you sure you didn't
My body feels weird.
Sigmund Phi said something about it in the lounge. About how you felt weird.
It's kind of like my body isn't really mine. I'm sort of floating. Like that?
It seemed insane, but what Luna said made sense. In fact, it explains Phi's apparent superhuman strength quite well. Luna's very polite, like, come on, Clover. I know you're Clover and all, but come on.
Wait,
Clover, the ditziest Esper ever.
this is crazy. That can't possibly be Earth out there. Look at it. I've seen photos of Earth, and it's blue and green and beautiful. That thing is just red.
Before we get into that, I should probably tell you something.
It's not 2048 or whatever, is it? I suspected when we found the cryogenic pods, I was like, it's way later than that, and Clover and Alice and probably me were put in those cryogenic pods for, a long time.
This isn't New Year's Eve in 2028.
28, right.
Today is January 27th.
In 29?
No.
Don't tell me. 30?
Still no.
Just what year is this?
Because I'm trying to remember when Clover said the nonary game took place, which was, I think she said 9 years prior. So, Tenmyoji is Junpei. We figured that out. So, if it were only 9 years later, it should be 2028. But he's old, so obviously it's decades after that.
It's 74. 2074.
No, that's insane. That would mean we were abducted more than 45 years ago.
I don't blame you if you don't believe me, but it's the truth.
How can you be sure?
It's not that hard. Quark and I left Earth on January 23rd, 2074. Solar eclipses are easy to predict. We've known that there'd be one on the 27th for a long time. That's just science. Nobody can change that.
But why is the Earth red?
That's a long story. About 45 years ago, on April 13th, 2029, there were 18 annihilation reactors operating in various parts of the world. On the 13th, all 18 of them went up. All at the same time.
Wow.
The explosion was about 180,000 times as powerful as the atom bomb they dropped on Hiroshima.
What? Why?
I suppose it started a few months before that. The government had a test site for a future Mars mission out in the middle of Nevada. On December 31st, 2028, there was an accident. Well, accident doesn't quite convey the right sense of the thing. The point is, Radical 6 claimed its first victims there, then escaped.
Maybe it's me, but I don't think I want anything called an annihilation reactor to be built, like, ever.
Didn't take long for it to spread to the rest of the
It's
world.
really efficient energy creation, though.
Like Luna explained, the virus slows your brain down. But eventually, it also makes you kill yourself. Pretty soon, the bodies started to pile up. Some people would take a dive off a building or shoot themselves in the head. You know, the classics. But for some, it was poison, or fire, or asphyxiation, or the noose. Plenty of people jumped in front of trains or cars. One pilot on a passenger airline drove his plane into the ground. Most forms of transportation ground to a halt pretty fast. That meant food couldn't get distributed, and thousands of people who weren't even infected died from starvation. Everywhere you went, there were just piles of corpses, covered in flies and rats and crows. I don't know what hell's like, but I imagine it's a lot like that.
So, the apocalypse, basically.
After a while, people who managed to avoid getting infected started trying to get in touch with one another. They got a hold of some radios and organized a couple meetings. There was only one thing to discuss, of course. How could they get rid of Radical 6? The answer, they decided, was purification. They figured they could just roast the surface of the Earth and that'd kill the virus off for good. On April 13th in 2029, they put their plan into effect. That plan was to detonate all 18 annihilation reactors. Now the truth is, that's mostly just rumor. Nobody really knows what happened, but I've got my own theories. I think that the bombers had already been infected, and when they died, they took billions with them. The ultimate if I die, you're coming with me gesture, I suppose. I'd bet you money they'd all lost it long before they got to the reactors. Killing most of the world, no matter how bad things had gotten, was not a sane plan, even if it wasn't directly responsible. Radical 6 killed most of the people on Earth. Anyway, why it happened isn't that important. Point is, it happened.
Throw yourself in the furnace. It'll kill the infection, right?
You ever heard of nuclear winter? Well, that's basically what we got. The explosion threw a ton of crab lip into the stratosphere, where it joined up with smoke and ash from all the fires.
I can't believe that Junpei survived this. I mean, I kind of can, because of Esper, but wow.
Blotted out the sun for 7 years.
It's time to repopulate. The moon is ready.
Plants withered and animals died by the millions. The few humans who were left banded together to survive. They were rough times. Eventually they were over, though. The sky cleared and the sun came back. Plants started blooming again, and the animals that hadn't died out completely began to reappear. Things weren't quite back to normal, though. It's been 45 years now. But there's still quite a bit of dust and ash in the air. That's what you're seeing. You know why a sun sets red? Well, this is the same thing. Blue and green light have short wavelengths, and they scatter when they run into debris in the air. Red light, on the other hand, has a longer wavelength, which means it'll get a lot farther when the air's dirty. So there you are. The Earth looks red because that's the only color of light that can make it through the atmosphere.
I was speechless. What could I possibly say? There was no reason for Tenmyoji to lie to us. So we were standing on the moon, looking at the Earth. It was 2074. But why? Why were we there? Why were we then? I was so lost in thought I barely noticed Phi's approach.
Hey, Sigma, I think I figured something out.
A window popped up on the inside of my helmet with Whisper in the corner. She seemed to be using a circuit only we could hear. Yeah? What is
I
it?
figured out why there's an extra E.
If the ninth lion ate the sun? An extra E? Oh, you mean the graffiti?
Yeah, the one on floor B.
What's the anagram, Phi?
I think it's an anagram, just like on floor A.
What's Anna say this time?
God damn it, Sigma! Knock it off!
I have my big revelation here! Hold on, be serious.
Memento mori if the ninth lion ate the sun. If you rearrange the letters, you get, the man on the moon rules the infinite time.
Oh, that's cool.
See? You need 6 E's to get that, so they stuck an extra one in ninth.
The man on the moon rules the infinite time.
I think it's a message for us from Zero Senior and Akane. Remember what she was telling us?
We created the AB project for one purpose: to transport the consciousnesses of 2 people into the past. Those 2 people are you, Sigma, and you, Phi.
That's the reason. That's the reason. This horrible, horrible thing that happened, this apocalypse. If we could send our consciousness back in time, maybe we could prevent it. Just like we prevented Akane's death. It was practice. So, what are you getting at?
My God, you're slow.
Dude, it's the Radical 6. Give me a break.
You don't get it? They're saying we rule the infinite time. Infinite time. They weren't just talking about having us jump a couple hours. I think they're planning to send us back. Way back.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you think they're going to send us back 45 years?
Yeah. I'd bet on it.
So the ultimate purpose of the AB project is to send us back in time to that catastrophe Tenmyoji's talking about.
I think so.
That doesn't make sense, though. I mean, we came from that same time period, before it, actually. So why bring us here and then send us back?
Well, Akane should be able to tell us the rest. Let's go pay her a visit.
Do you know where she is?
I've got an idea.
Billions of deaths is just practice for time travel? No. Not billions of deaths. Only a couple of deaths in order to do time travel to prevent billions of deaths. Which, if that is the case, then that is very Akane, because the whole thing with 999, why we were playing the Nonary game, was to prevent her death.
Come on, think. Remember
So
what
this
she
would
said
just be
when
that
she gave you
on
the
a
key?
grander scale. Come on, think. Remember what she said when you gave that key?
Tu fui ego eris.
The grave. The one in the garden.
Well, come on, what are you waiting for? Let's go.
But how do we get back in? We turned and ran back into the pressure exchange chamber, the others following close behind.
What? What are you doing? Did you forget something?
We're going to have a talk with somebody.
Who?
You really need me to spell it out? The person behind all this.
You mean Akane?
What?
I'll take that as a yes. Let me accompany you then.
Wait, why do you know about Akane?
I'll tell you when we get there. Now,
He's recovered his
please.
memories. He's recovered his
I'm
memories
coming
again.
with you. You folks just said the magic word.
Akane.
I'm going to then. So am I. Hey, is this Akane you're talking about?
Yeah, you know her real well.
Wait, you're serious? What the hell is going on?
Alright, shut up. Just shut up. Come if you want to. We don't need to do roll call. Once we get there, Akane can explain everything. With that, we headed back through the airlock. But the number 9 door is locked, isn't it? I don't think that we can get out. Oh. I guess we can open it from that side. Okay.
Ah, clever. The number 9 door on floor A is shut forever once the game ends. Assuming Zero Jr. was telling the truth, of course. But the door on floor B...
Yeah. Thought we might be able to take the lift to it.
Oh!
And it looks like I was right.
It wasn't the number 9 door, that's why.
Any idea where Akane might be?
Yeah, the grave.
You mean the grave in the garden?
Yeah, don't worry. I don't think she's buried there or anything. Chances are she's alive, just in the grave. Anyway, let's move! To the garden! To the garden! Do, 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 do. Running around, running around. Akane, you've got some splaining to do. Why did you keep us frozen for 45 years?
Is Akane really under here?
I think so.
What should we do? Are we gonna dig her out?
No, I don't think we'll have to do anything like that. This is one screwed up story. Yeah, well, time travel. You see the ski hole on the grave? If I just insert this here, I pulled the key off my ankle and fitted it into the hole. I twisted it to the right until I heard something unlock. With a quiet grinding, the grave began to shift.
What is this? It doesn't look like a coffin.
Oh, we didn't see the treatment rooms this time.
Yeah, it's a treatment pod.
Oh my god. It is, isn't it?
The glass on the cover had frosted over, making it opaque. We couldn't see who or what was in it.
Let's see what's inside.
She grabbed a hold of the lever on the side of the pod.
No good. I think it's locked.
What?
Treatment pod TP00. Stage 1, defrosting complete. Stage 2 will be complete in 10 minutes. Once stage 2 is complete, the lock will automatically disengage.
Right, cold sleep.
What?
These pods can put people into cold sleep. It uses something called CAS to freeze human bodies without destroying their cells.
So, Mizukani's like an ice cube?
I think so.
And we gotta wait till she melts?
Yeah.
So how about you tell us your story while we wait, Kay? Specifically, why do you know Akane?
I remembered.
What do you remember?
Everything. I was born and raised in this facility. It's called Rhizome 9. A rhizome is an underground plant stem that spreads by sending out roots. Kind of makes sense, doesn't it? This facility is a little like a rhizome. Supposedly, that's why they call these installations that. The number comes from the facility's number. There are 54 rhizomes on the moon, and this is the 9th one.
Also, we just had to throw in another number 9.
Well, I suppose the other ones don't really matter to you, do they? In any event, I grew up here with Akane and Zero Senior. I watched them create the AB project.
The AB project?
Yes. Its purpose is to send Phi and Sigma, or their consciousnesses at least, to the past.
Back 45 years, right?
Yes.
So, you want us to change history, huh? Go back and keep Radical 6 from getting out, and stop the reactors from exploding. That's our mission?
Well, not exactly.
What do you mean?
It's true that the ultimate goal of the project is to keep Radical 6 from spreading to the general population. But even if you do make it back, you won't be able to do much. By now, it's already too late.
Too late?
What do you mean?
Let me begin at the beginning. You might be thinking that Zero Senior and Akane were the ones who created all this, but that's not entirely correct. They only followed the histories they'd already seen. It was the only choice they had. Nothing less than the future of mankind is at stake. We need the two of you to jump through timelines while maintaining your memories. That is why you had to play the AB game, and why the chromatic doors were necessary. By forcing multiple options, you could make numerous jumps. We speculated that jumping more would strengthen your memories. The puzzles were also there for a purpose. Some theories hold that a moment of insight when you solve a puzzle strengthens your connection to the fourth dimension. That was the reason for the puzzles. Your infection with Radical 6 was also a vital part of our plan. By slowing down your brain's processing speed, we can store your potential. With that energy stored up, we just had to provide a life-or-death situation to launch your consciousness into the fourth dimension. Like a bullet from a slingshot.
Wait. Hold on just a minute here. You keep talking about Sigma and Phi, but what about the rest of us? Why did you bring us here?
That's simple. In earlier histories, you were all here in Rhizome 9. We needed you here to accurately replicate those histories. Although I suppose that's probably not a good enough explanation for you. In a sense, though, it is the truth. Our primary goal was to replicate history. The rest is... Yes, I suppose I should explain.
Yes, please, Kay.
Very well. I will try and do so in a way you can understand. First, Alice and Clover. They were abducted 45 years and 1 month ago, on December 22nd, 2028. The location is Earth, of course. More specifically, Los Angeles, California. Correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
After being kidnapped, you were placed in treatment pods and immediately put into cold sleep. 4 months later, you arrived at this facility. The date you finally arrived was April 14th, 2029. Your trip from Earth to this facility was aboard a spaceship powered by an annihilation engine. Following your arrival, your pods were placed in long-term storage. Does that make sense?
Are you telling me we were sleeping in those pods here for 45 years?
Yes.
Yes, in preparation for this day.
But why? What do you need us for?
You are an Esper, aren't you, Clover? I mean that you are able to access the fourth dimension. Am I wrong?
Could forgive someone for getting so many details after 40 hours of game and 20 alternate timelines.
Did Akane tell you?
In a manner of speaking, as I've already explained, the purpose of this project is to send Sigma and Phi's consciousnesses to the past. Espers are able to sort of resonate with one another, which can amplify their power.
Which is also probably why they have Junpei.
You understand? This is why we brought you here, Clover.
What about me?
We needed your help, Alice, to deactivate Dio's bombs.
Huh? But I didn't do anything.
But you did. In another history, you were able to perform prime decomposition on the 25-digit integer that Dio left behind. Only you could do that sort of thing. Because of your feat at mathematics, we were able to determine that Dio had planted the bombs. Then we were able to question him and get the password for the number 31. Finally, we used that information to stop the bomb in this timeline. Without your help, Alice, we would have been reduced to nothing more than so much space dust. This history exists because of your presence. Now, let me explain why we needed Tenmyoji and Quark. Tenmyoji is simple.
Yes, but how convenient was it that Clover and Alice were together when they were abducted? Like, they could have used any mathematician, but there was one right next to a tasty Esper.
We needed you for the same reason we needed Clover. You are able to access the fourth dimension. Almost half a century ago, you used that ability to save a young girl, didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
We needed you to resonate with Sigma and Phi, so we brought you here. All it took was a messenger.
Do you want to see Akane? If you do, come with me. I was a fool and fell for it.
And you brought Quark with you. In fact, you insisted that he come.
Yeah, I know. I guess you were worried about leaving me alone, huh? He kept saying he couldn't run off to the moon and leave me behind.
I'm sorry, Quark. If I hadn't been so stupid and selfish, none of this would have happened to you. I never thought this would happen. Can you ever forgive me?
Oh, don't worry about it. I mean, I agreed to come with you. I thought the moon would be way more interesting than boring old Earth. What kid would turn that down?
We didn't see the messenger after we got on the ship. It was on autopilot. As soon as we got in, and headed straight for the moon. During the trip, Zero told me to keep quiet once we got there. I don't remember anything after we landed.
Then there was a bunch of that white smoke, and we passed out, and when I woke up, I was in the AB room.
Still don't know who the mastermind behind all this is. We did see Zero in the hologram. It looked like an old guy. Presumably. If it wasn't, you know...
Dio. His real name is Left, and he's the leader of a terrorist organization called the Myrmidons. He was ordered to come here. The Myrmidons are under the control of an organization called Free the Soul, which is in turn controlled by a man known as Brother. It was Brother who orchestrated the release of Radical 6 into the general population 45 years ago. Do you remember what Phi mentioned earlier? The ultimate purpose of the AB project is to change history and keep Radical 6 from being released. If we succeed, that would be bad for Brother and his organization. Our success would prevent them from creating the ideal world they're working toward. That is why Brother sent Left, his trusted lieutenant, to this facility. They needed to stop the AB project. So, Dio was given two tasks. The first was to eliminate Akane, the architect of the AB project. The second was to join the AB game and win it. If Dio won the game, the AB project would not be completed, at least not in that timeline. In other words, in that world, the project would have been stopped. If things didn't go as planned, Dio was given a contingency plan. If If you cannot murder Akane and win the game, destroy Rhizome 9. Hence, the bombs.
Can I ask you something?
Perhaps.
How did Brother know about the AB project?
That's an excellent question.
He was also an Esper. We can set Brother aside for now, though. May I proceed?
Yeah. No one objected. We were all curious.
Excellent. That explains everyone, save two, Luna and myself. Sigma and Phi already know the truth about Luna. I don't believe I should reveal any more, however. I think it would be more appropriate if you could ask Luna yourselves at a later time. Would that be all right with you, Luna?
Yes, that's okay.
As for me, as I said before, I was born and raised here. The rest of you were brought to this facility. But I've never left. That makes me someone close to Zero Senior and Akane.
Hey, I've been wondering, who is Zero Senior?
You've already met him, Sigma, in another timeline.
Yeah, well, I saw a hologram. I still don't know who he is.
Stage 2 is complete. TP00. Unlocking.
That was
It
about
looks
10
like
minutes.
it's finished. Shall we open the pod?
Yeah, let's do it. All of us gathered around the pod. The glass was still covered with frost, hiding the contents.
Okay. Let's get started then. Ready?
Vi later handled on the liver and looked around at us. I swallowed. Yeah,
All right.
anytime.
Here we go. 3, 2, 1.
Huh. Dramatic pause. That's not Akane. That's me. What? Suddenly my head was full of memories from other timelines. I'd seen something like this before. The warehouse of floor B, in front of the white door. Kay was lying in front of me. I grabbed his mask and saw my own face. I never figured out who he really was. Why was there a man with my face underneath Kay's armor? It didn't make sense. After I had seen him, I was injected with tubercularine, and that was the end of that. But wait, if the person in the pod was the same person I had seen on the floor of the warehouse, who was wearing Kay's armor?
You finally noticed. Didn't I tell you? You won't be alone. I will be at your side, watching over you.
Oh, it's Akane! In the suit! No, oh my god,
Yes.
you're...
I am.
Akane Kurashiki.
It's a voice difference maker.
It's you, June. I mean, Akane from... But you're old.
Yes, that's correct.
You should see the looks on your faces. Got me so good.
I haven't spoken to you in a very long time, Clover. Or you, Junpei.
Junpei?
Akane, long time no see.
I could barely hear what they were saying. My mind was still reeling. It felt like all the air had been knocked out of me, and it was all I could do to not collapse right there and then.
When? How long?
Do you remember when the two of you saved me in the warehouse? Once you saved me, you went back to your future. Well, your minds did at least. I carried your bodies to the third AB room, and then took Dio's to the fifth. After that, I went into the first room and borrowed...
So by the time you and Clover came out, you'd already...
Yes.
Wait, that doesn't make any sense. Dio killed you, and then Luna took your body to the sixth room. You couldn't have been in Kay's armor.
No, it was me. In this timeline, at least. In this one, I wasn't murdered by Dio.
You two saved me. It's just like Schrodinger's cat. Your actions in the future decided who would be inside the armor in the past.
This is all stuff that happened earlier in the game. Yeah, we're approaching like hour 40. What? No, that's nuts.
Alright, what about the other history? The one where you weren't saved. What happens then? Who's wearing the armor?
That's quite simple. The man in front of you.
Him?
That's correct. Whenever I'm not in the armor, he is.
What about the memory loss?
For my part, I confess that I lied. He, on the other hand, was telling the truth. Large doses of soporil can cause memory loss. I gave him a rather large dose.
So, who is he?
You've never seen him before?
No.
What about the rest of you?
I have no idea who he is.
I've never seen him before.
Me either.
Total stranger.
Why don't they say that he looks like me? I clearly don't look like myself. We've never seen my actual face except for the the beginning part. Hey, come on, what are you guys saying? Right here? Same face?
Are you alright, Mr. Sigma? Did you hit your head or something?
Huh? What? It didn't make any sense. Why didn't they recognize me?
Sigma, your consciousness can jump through time. You can inhabit your body in the past or in the future.
What does that mean?
Don't you get it? You've jumped to the future. From 45 years ago.
I looked around frantically. A pond! I ran to it and threw myself down on my knees. Crawling all fours, I approached the edge. My heart was hammering inside my chest. A cold sweat trickled down my spine. Calm down, calm down, calm down, damn it! I struggled to take deep breaths. Then slowly, I peered into the pond looking for my reflection. Oh, cool! I'm Zero! What? No, this can't be real! This face!
It's your face, Dr. Sigma Climb. Although, to the you that's behind it now, it's your face 45 years from now.
And
Zero,
that's why I had cybernetic
the
arms,
mastermind of the AB project.
I lost my arms sometime in the intervening 45 years. That makes sense. Okay, I can accept this. And Kay is probably my son.
Is you.
What? No, that's not possible. Actually explains a lot. That's bullshit.
No. It's the truth. Fighting it isn't going to do you any good. Please, Doctor.
There was also one point where Vi called me Grandpa. That now also makes a lot more sense. I'm not a doctor.
You will be. A pioneer in the field of genetic engineering.
You're lying.
No, I'm not. You created him. Well, I suppose I should say you are going to create him.
Create?
His name is Kyle Climb, your clone.
Oh, he's not my son. He's my clone. Well, that makes sense why he looks exactly like me, I suppose.
That is why he looks just like a younger version of yourself.
Pioneer in the field of making BS murder games and escape puzzles.
23 years ago, in the biolab here in Rhizome 9, you created Kyle. Well, I suppose for you, that's still in the future. When I said I was born and raised here, I was still pretending to be him. The gravity here is only 1/6 of Earth's. If nothing was done, The reduced gravity would cause his bones to be weaker than normal human ones. But you prepared for that. You gave him that armor.
It's weighted. It's so that...
Ever since he was born, he's lived inside of it. It kept his muscles and bones strong. He wasn't forced into it for the nonary game. He's been wearing it every day, all his life.
But why would future me create a clone?
He was to be your spare. If something happened to you before the project began, he would take your place. I mentioned before that the AB projects A and B stood for after and before. That isn't all they mean, though. The A also means anima, and the B means body.
It also means ambidex, and it also means ally and betray.
Anima is another word for the soul, or the consciousness. Body is, well, exactly what it says on the tin. The past consciousness will go into the future body, and the future consciousness will go into the past body. They switch. That was the chief goal of the project.
Wait, so the future person goes into the past person. So Zero, right now, is in my body in 2028. And I'm in his body in the future. And we are able to switch like that because we're the same person, just displaced in time.
Sigma, do you remember the note you found in the garden?
You mean this, right?
Yes. Ah, of course, it was you who investigated the garden in this timeline.
Yeah.
Sigma, take a good look at this. It's an illustration of the time jumps your consciousness is making.
Yeah, right now he's enjoying a nice vacation after preparing this game for who knows how many years. Oh.
A is where everything began.
For everyone other than Sigma and Phi, this has to be the most irritating conversation of all time.
December 25th, 2028. You inhaled the white smoke in your car and lost consciousness. From there, you jumped to B. January 25th, 2074. You woke up in one of the AB rooms in Rhizome 9. You are in your own body, but it is 67 years old. Your consciousness has jumped 45 years into the future. I believe that may explain why you didn't notice the reduced lunar gravity. The body you woke up in was much older. Normally, you would have noticed that your muscles were much weaker. In this case, however, the lower gravity balanced that out. Moving on.
And my arms are cybernetic, so they wouldn't, be old and wrinkly.
If you continue along this line, what happens next? You reach C, which is January 27, 2074. That is today.
Whoa, wait, what do you mean? Are you saying it's been 2 days since we woke up?
36 hours to be exact. Have you already forgotten? You were all infected with Radical 6. The virus slowed your brain down, so yes, 36 hours of real time have passed.
And we haven't slept for all that time.
But to you, it only seemed like 14 hours and 40 minutes.
So I also want to make sure I play HQ tonight, because it's How I Met Your Mother trivia, and I've seen every single episode of that show. So I'm hopeful I can actually win.
Now comes the important part. After this, your consciousness will return to the past. It will re-emerge at point D. April 13th, 2029. You will return to your younger body.
But that's the same day as the reactor explosions.
Yes. That is why I said it will be too late. You will return to the past, but the events you would want to prevent will have already happened. The story does not end there, however. The line continues. After reaching point D, you will eventually return to B. But this time, you won't be jumping through time, or at least not at a rate faster than normal. Your consciousness will spend 45 years inhabiting the same body until you reach point B. Do you remember when B is Sigma?
January 25th, 2074. According to what you just told us 36 hours ago.
Correct. That was when the consciousness of the 22-year-old Sigma jumped into the body of 67-year-old Sigma. So where did the older version of you go when you took this body?
Point A. December 25th, 2028. The day all this started.
Yes. His consciousness will go back in time 45 years. For a period of time, he will inhabit your younger body. While your younger consciousness is elsewhere, he will be you in the past.
But once that body reaches point D, my 22-year-old consciousness will come back from point C.
That's correct. When that happens, the older version of you will be ejected from your younger body and return to your body at C.
So it's rotating.
Rotating. I suppose you could put it that way. But look at this illustration closely. What if you take all these lines and untangle them? You get one single line. It may look complicated, but in truth, it's a single straight path.
You're lost. Okay, so here's the thing. Let's just take the perspective of my younger self. So, I got kidnapped. When I got kidnapped, I jumped 45 years into the future. My consciousness that way. So my younger consciousness is my older body. I play through the AB game. And then eventually my younger consciousness is going to, in a couple of months, jump back into my younger body. But that's going to be the time when the apocalypse happens. So then, from the time that the apocalypse happens, then I'm working on becoming a doctor, I'm doing all this stuff, I'm setting up the AB game. 45 years pass, and I get back to right at the start of the AB game. Then I'm going to go back to the past, and I will be my old self in my younger body, older, more experienced, probably better at jumping through time, so that I can deal with the Nevada test site and try to prevent the apocalypse from happening. I get it, but I, to be fair, I don't get it from the illustration. I get it from how Akane is explaining it verbally.
With one exception.
This line here at point E, right?
Exactly. Point E is December 31st, 2028. The day
Radical 6 got out of the test facility.
Yes. By now, you've likely figured it out on your own. The purpose of the AB project was to get the consciousness of the 67-year-old Sigma from point B to point A. If we can do that, we can change what happened 45 years ago.
So the old version of me will keep Radical 6 from getting out by jumping into my 22-year-old body on New Year's Eve 2028. And I'll have my powers as an Esper so much more developed than my 22-year-old self would have. That makes sense. Yeah. The game had a good reason again.
Yes, that is why this line could not be interrupted. In order for the 67-year-old version of you to reach point B, we first have to go through point D. In order to get to point D, we must jump from point C. And for point C to happen, we had to recreate everything that happened in this facility. That is why we have faithfully retraced history up to this point, so that we might save humankind from destruction.
Personally, I think Sigma spent 45 years trying to understand his own chart so Akane could try to explain it.
And undo the horrors of the last 45 years.
Tell me one thing.
What is that?
You said that point C is January 27th, 2074, which is today. There's going to be a jump, and I will jump to April 13th, 2029.
Yes, that's right.
But look, I'm still old. When is this jump supposed to happen?
Very soon. Yes.
Soon? And what's going to trigger it?
We need potential energy stored to send your consciousness into the fourth dimension. Fortunately, we now have plenty of that. Thanks, ironically, to Radical 6. All that remains is to launch your consciousness, like a bullet from a slingshot.
And how do you propose to do that?
Didn't I tell you? A crisis. A moment balanced between life and death. That can jumpstart your brain.
What do you mean?
You haven't figured it out? I mean this.
Dio's knife. No sooner were the words out of my mouth. Bye! I screamed and leapt toward them. Akane was already in motion, the knife diving toward Fai's chest. I was almost there. When I regained consciousness, I was on the floor. There was a dull pain in my chest. I felt for a cut, but something was in the way. It took me a moment to realize that it was Akane's body lying on top of me. I twisted my neck to look around. Nearby was an old tombstone. On it was written a few words in Latin. What you are, I was. What I am, you will be. Oh, that actually makes more sense now, in context. In the original DS, I think the perspective switched from top screen to bottom screen after the white flash. What would that mean? Oh, that it was old me? Well, it's not clear whether I was the one who died or she was the one who died. The characters yammer on. I'm liking the nice little slideshow we're getting this time in the credits. Also, the music sounds a little different than before. Like, more completely orchestrated. So, since I wasn't in cold sleep, I just jumped timelines. It was Alice, Clover, and Phi who were in the cold sleep things. Kept expecting them to say, but wait, there's more! I mean, maybe they will. They very well might. Because Letter unlocked all the secret files, there should be one more scene, unless they didn't include it. Oh! Secret ending? Yeah, it is HQ time. I got it. I got it on the phone. How I Met Your Mother trivia tonight. I wonder in what way, like, can my clone... Because they said he was supposed to be my spare. Could my clone have gone back in time, I wonder? Like, inhabiting Sigma's consciousness? Like, can Kay take over Sigma's consciousness? I don't know. Strange. Ooh, a new destination has been added! Ho 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 ho! We're gonna save. Trophy earned time after time. Oh. Headquarters, April 13th, 2029. Yes, I do wish to jump.
Today is April 13th, 2029, and this is the evening news. Unfortunately, I'm sorry. I don't have any news to read. All of our station's reporters have passed after contracting Radical 6. So have my... Excuse me. I've managed to keep us on the air until now. But I'm out of tricks. It's time for me to sign off. This concludes our broadcast day. I pray that someday our world can be cleansed of this horrible plague. Goodbye.
Oh, jeez. For a moment, I just stared at the TV. The roar of the static seemed to fill the entire room, until with a click, it disappeared too. Had the power gone out? I heard footsteps behind me and turned around. You. Akane.
It looks like the first step was successful.
What the fuck? You killed me!
Killed?
I guess technically you're going to kill me 45 years from now, but still!
Hey, no need to be rude about it. I didn't kill you. I hit you with the butt of the knife. You're fine.
I'm okay?
Yes. You and Phi needed to experience a state of crisis. That was the only way.
Me and Phi?
Yes. I only told you about you, but we also needed Phi to jump. Now, you know what happens next, right?
We go to the moon?
Correct. We will be leaving tomorrow, April 14th, 2029. We've nearly finished preparing your shuttle. Only a few last-minute checks and additions. You'll be traveling to Rhizome 9, along with 3 treatment pods.
Alice and Clover, right?
Yes.
What about the third one? Who's in there?
Phi. We put her into cold sleep 2 days ago. She appeared at our headquarters and volunteered to be frozen. That wasn't the Phi who jumped from point C, though. It was Phi before she jumped from point A to point D. In other words, she was following the same path you are, and she still is.
Then that means that after you froze her, the point C version of her jumped back into her body.
Yes. The point C version of Phi is sleeping in that pod. She'll stay there for the next 45 years, sleeping in ice.
Then when she gets to point B, her consciousness will jump to point A, right?
Correct.
Huh. So that's why she didn't look old. So why don't you just stick me in one of those pods?
We can't do that.
Why not?
You haven't figured it out? You have to spend the next 45 years working on the AB project. After arriving at Rhizome 9, you must master genetic engineering and artificial intelligence programming, among other disciplines.
I love it so good.
Otherwise, you will be unable to create Kyle, Luna, and Lagomorph.
I feel like I should have known, because 999, I should have known that I was Zero, because in 999 I was sort of Zero as well, because Akane in the past was seeing everything from Junpei's perspective.
And, of course, you will need to develop the chromatic doors and the bracelets. You will also be the person who summons Tenmyoji and Quark. Once you've completed all the preparations, then the project can actually begin. January 25th, 2074. You will defrost Phi and carry her to the third AB room. Once you've done that, the 22-year-old version of you from point A will force you out, and you'll just go back 45 years to your own body on December 25th, 2028.
Sounds legit. And then I change history. Do you really think I can keep the virus from getting out?
You have to. If you don't, billions of people will die. Only you and Phi can save them.
What about you? Aren't you an Esper too?
I can't do anything on my own. If this is going to work, I'll need your help.
So, what do I need to do?
What do you mean?
Like, what specific actions do I need to take? When Phi and I jump to point A, what are we going to do then?
You'll both enter the Mars mission test site.
And after that?
I don't know.
What?
I'm sorry. I really don't know anything about what happens in there. We don't know how the Radical Six escaped. We don't even know why it was there in the first place.
Oh, crap. Then we're screwed.
That's why we need your help. You have the ability to jump through time and across parallel worlds. We need you to figure out what happened in that test facility. Things will be difficult, and I'm sure you will find yourself in a great deal of danger. But I believe the two of you can overcome any obstacle.
Wait, how do you know it's so dangerous?
The 67-year-old version of you told me what happened. He wasn't able to stop the virus. So I suppose you could say you told me after you failed.
What did I say?
That the test facility is full of traps. There was one point, a woman's life was in danger. You risked yourself for her sake, and lost your arms and your right eye.
My arms and my right eye? Oh, okay. What the hell? Suddenly, a low rumble shook the building. What was that?
Go have a look.
I moved slowly to the window and peered outside. On the horizon, I could see a massive mushroom cloud climbing slowly toward the sky. Would we really be able to change the course of history? No, that was the wrong way to look at it. It couldn't be a question. I had to change history. We could save the world. I'm going to change history. I stared at the darkening skies above us and steeled myself. I would succeed. End or beginning. I like it. Trophy earned, fire and ice. Gonna save. Well, guys, I think that's the end of the game. I'm pretty sure that's everything. Oh, wait. There's a little more, apparently. Maybe this is afterward? That should be the one you were thinking of? Okay.
Where?
I see you've finally woken up, Kyle.
Kyle?
Ah, yes. Of course. You've only just woken up in this timeline.
This should be the last thing. I forgot about the last scene.
It's only natural for some of your memories to be missing.
I lurched upright, jumped off the bed, and ran around to the other side of the partition. The mirror over the sink was covered with a film of dirt. I wiped it off with my sleeve, and my reflection stared back at me. There was no mistake. The reflection belonged to...
Kyle Climb. So, I'm Dr. Climb? Zero Senior's clone?
What? How do you know that? Shouldn't you still be suffering from amnesia?
An excellent question, one I didn't quite know the answer to myself. I knew who Kyle Climb was. In another history, he had been called K and had worn a suit of armor. He hadn't just worn the armor in that history, though. Apparently, he had worn it all his life. Kyle had been born and raised in this lunar installation, which seemed to be called Rhizome 9. Rather late in his life, Akane had appeared as a mother figure, and he had consequently grown very attached to her. I knew everything about him, but even though I knew it, I didn't feel it. Was I really Kyle Climb? Every time I looked in the mirror, I saw his face. The spitting image of Sigma Climb in his younger days. I looked down. There was Dio, still handcuffed. I turned back around to Luna.
What day is today?
January 27th, 2074.
And today is the last day of the AB project. Akane has explained everything in the garden. And she drew a knife and attacked Phi. How long have I been asleep?
About 5 hours in real time. For them, it would have seemed like a little more than 2 hours.
So they still haven't been treated for their Radical 6?
No, they've all been given the antiviral. It just takes a while to have an effect.
I see. So the consciousness of the younger Sigma has gone back into the past. It should have happened right after Akane attacked Phi, right?
Yes.
Why am I here?
The doctor carried you back here. You were in the pod in the garden.
So the person you call the doctor is Sigma Klein, as inhabited by his age-appropriate consciousness.
Yes, but how do you know that?
Dio seems to have remained unconscious.
Yes, I've been administering Soparil whenever he gets restless.
What about the others?
Just gonna keep him sedated forever?
They've all gone off to different areas. Tenmyoji and Quark, for instance.
Oh, right. Mr. Klein.
So the sleepyhead's finally up, huh?
What are you two doing here?
You don't know where we are?
This is the upper floor of the pressure exchange chamber. The real one.
Mm-hmm.
We were just about to get dressed and head out.
You plan to return, then? To Earth, I mean.
Yeah.
Sigma told us where we could find the shuttle that brought us here. Well, guess he's not really the Sigma I knew anymore.
Why?
I lost. Little too hard.
What do you mean, why?
Well, I'm just curious why you would choose to return to a devastated planet when you could stay here.
How's staying here gonna help? You aren't gonna say something idiotic about how we should wait here until Sigma changes the past, are you? You can't wait for something that's already happened. Grammar doesn't work that way. Hell, Nature doesn't work that way. You following me? We've already lived through history. Sigma failed to keep the virus from getting out. About 45 years ago, Radical 6 created a pandemic, and the antimatter reactors blew up. That all happened. Whatever Sigma does in the past, history's not going to change. In fact, it's because of what he did or didn't do in the past that we've got this past and present. Let me give you an example.
In other words, this timeline is not going to change. It's like how in Dragon Ball Z, when Trunks went back to the past and he went back to the future, it didn't stop all of the Z fighters from being killed. He was still the only one left, and he had to take down the androids himself. It didn't, fix his future. It's multiverse theory.
Imagine a group of 100 motorcycles driving down an endless freeway. Eventually, they hit a junction. The road splits in two. One freeway continues off northwest, and the other stretches out to the northeast. So one guy, we'll call him S, pipes up. "Let's go northwest," he says. So they take the northwestern road. But about a mile past the intersection, something horrible happens. A semi driving the other way veers into their lane and plows through the bikers. 90 of them die. The surviving 10 are wounded, but survive. They don't stop, though. They keep riding down that highway, and eventually they'd gone 10,000 miles. Then suddenly, something happens that they couldn't have predicted. S, who had survived, suddenly has his consciousness thrown back in time. He ends up back in his own body just before they reach the junction. He remembers everything. So what does S do? What anybody would do. Let's go northeast. That means all 100 of the bikers survive to reach their destination, happy and healthy. And they all live happily ever after. That's what you're thinking, right? It's a great outcome for the 100 bikers that went northeast. But what about the 10 that went northwest and survived the accident?
Huh? Wouldn't it be 9 people? I mean, S's mind went back in time, right?
Right. Okay, 9 people then. What happens to the reality they were living? Does it just disappear when S changes the past? It's not as if it was only bad things that happened during that 10,000-mile trip. Maybe one of them fell in love with a woman working at a gas station they stopped at and had a child. Maybe one of them picked up a homeless kid who joined them on their adventure.
He loves Quark.
That 10,000-mile journey would be full of stories, friendships, farewells, romances. The loss of those 90 lives is horrible and unfortunate. But what would rewriting their history mean? The 9 who survived lived full lives. How can it be right to just erase all that? The survivors overcame their own misery and loss and made the best they could of the hand they'd been dealt. Isn't that worth something? Isn't that the best thing that humans can aspire to? Is there really any point to a world where everything is happy? Are people who struggle for a better life just idiots? Being human is about fighting, even when it seems hopeless, and finding happiness, even in a world that hates it. Are you saying that's worthless? If you're saying rewriting the past will erase all these other timelines, then whatever God wrote those rules can Look, I'm just not going to accept that, all right? You get it?
If Sigma changes the past, then you and Quark will never meet.
Is he right?
No, it's not going to happen. We're here right now. This is reality. Even if Sigma does change the past, we're not just going to disappear or something.
And even if you do, you won't know any better.
Oh! Then that means we get to stay together? Good.
Thanks, kid.
I understand how you feel.
They're adorable.
Why you want to return to Earth is clear. You have lives there, I imagine. There are likely people waiting for you.
Right.
Uh-huh.
Have you already said goodbye to the others?
Bye, Luna, Alice, and Clover all saw us off. We told them we'd see them again someday, and then came here.
They were the only people you want to say goodbye to?
No point saying anything to Dio.
Besides, he's asleep. You were asleep too.
Sorry, but we didn't really know much about you.
You have a point. Akane was in the armor in this timeline, after all. What about Sigma?
Well, he's not really Mr. Sigma anymore.
Of course. He is Dr. Klein now that his consciousness has returned.
Yeah, but more importantly, he's the guy who brought us all here. Not a lot of warm feelings there, you know?
And Akane?
Never mind her. She's just like him.
Oh.
Not the Akane I knew.
I mean, isn't she though? Isn't she kind of the Akane you knew? Who put you in a game just like this? That's actually the Akane you knew.
She must have seen some pretty awful things over the years. Hell, she might not even be human anymore. But the Akane Kurashiki I know isn't here. She's not anywhere.
In the end, Clover and I were just pawns. Pawns to be used and then gotten rid of. Still, it's not like we're completely resentful. We had to be here to help change the past. That part's easy to understand. But
Kinda sucks, though.
Yeah.
I mean, Sigma and Phi have it easy. They get to go back to December 25th in 2028. They'll stop the Radical Six and save the world, and then they'll have a nice, normal future to look forward to. In other words, they get to go back to Point E and just enjoy history like it was supposed to happen.
But we don't. We're stuck with Point C as our starting point.
You told us about Tenmyoji's story, right? The one with the motorcycles? It would be like if Alice and I were kidnapped right before the intersection. Then whoever grabbed us takes us to wherever the bikers are going, 10,000 miles to the northwest.
Don't get us wrong. We know why we had to be here. Without us, S's consciousness wouldn't have been able to go back to right before the intersection.
If that couldn't happen, then the fate of those 90 dead bikers would be sealed. But
it's still not the best situation for those of us left in the Northwest. We're stuck in the reality where the 90 bikers died.
Are we just supposed to go live on Earth? It's a wasteland now. And what about our friends and families? We left a whole world behind 45 years ago.
They're all dead. Clover was super close to her brother. He's probably dead.
Even if it is for the greater good?
It just doesn't seem fair, does it?
Yeah, it's a little bit much.
So we went and talked to the old lady.
She told us that there is one way.
One way we could get back to the past.
Let's say you do go back to the past. Wouldn't that cause your minds to get thrown back here? That seemed to be how Sigma and Phi's jumps worked, at least.
Yes, you're right.
But this is different.
Different? How so?
From what she said, it sounds like there's a way we can send our bodies back in time, too.
That's ridiculous. It would create a paradox. How could you have two Clovers and two Alices at the same time?
But that wouldn't happen.
Akane says there's a way around that.
How on earth does she plan to do that?
Schrodinger's
cat.
Oh, hey, Kyle.
Because their bodies were right. Lock them in a box with poisonous gas so that they shut up. No, I was thinking because we never actually saw their bodies in the cold sleep chambers. They were frosted over. So when they go back, maybe we just don't put them in the boxes. I don't know. I think that sounds dumb. Either they're in the boxes or they're not.
Figured you'd come here eventually.
Where's Dr. Klein? Luna said you were with him.
He said he was tired, so he's off resting right now. There's a bedroom at the end of the hallway. He's in there if you're curious. Oh, right. He told me to turn on this hologram projector thing when you showed up. Want me to start it?
Sure.
Glad to see you. There isn't anything in particular that I have to tell you. However, I imagine there are a great number of things weighing on your mind. I'd love to answer all your questions, but unfortunately, my circumstances make that an impossibility. I hope you can forgive me. Everything I know, Phi should also know. I have instructed her to answer any questions anyone might have. Anyone other than Kyle, that is.
What does he mean, other than Kyle?
Who knows? Is there anything you want to ask?
Right, well, I guess I may as well cut to the chase. Just who are you, Phi?
I'm not Superman, that's for sure. And I'm not Batman or Spider-Man or Aquaman or a Merman or a Wolfman. I'm not a Brahmin or Common or Ramen. I'm not a Cayman either, so you really don't need to worry about anything.
Please don't dodge the question. About 5 hours ago, Akane attacked you with a knife.
Probably trying to avoid a paradox.
That triggered something which sent your mind back to the past, correct? Specifically, you were sent to Point D, April 13th, 2029. On that date, your body was already in Akane's custody. Although by then you were in cold sleep. You wouldn't have regained consciousness, but your mind was now inhabiting that body. That pod was your home for 45 years.
By being lame, as she typically is.
You slept there, frozen, until the time was right.
It's really funny because I feel like when Sigma makes lame jokes, Phi is like, oh, that's so lame, and then Phi makes similar lame jokes.
Then on January 25th, 2074, you were finally thawed out, even though you didn't wake up. Still unconscious, you were carried to the AB room. That was when your consciousness changed bodies again. A version of you from December 25th, 2028 arrived, pushing you out and sending you back to December 25th, 2028. This is when you finally woke up. In 2028, you found and joined forces with Sigma, whose older mind was inhabiting his younger body. Together, you attempted to infiltrate the Mars mission test facility. Fortunately, your plan failed. The Radical Six did escape on New Year's Eve. That failure determined the path you followed. Instead of going along the line that branches out to the right from Point E, you headed straight to Point D. Point D being April 13th of the following year.
Oh, I see. The arrow that goes off like that is supposed to be, that's when you change the past. I see.
That was the day that you made your way to Akane's hideout and asked to be put into one of the treatment pods. Another consciousness enters your body around that time from the future.
Sorry, Duncan.
It is, of
I
course,
think it's
the
really
version of
interesting
you that
and
left
cool.
your body when Akane attacked you in the garden. This caused the two versions of you to swap places, and you moved 45 years into the future, where you woke up on the garden floor. That put you on the line that comes here. So if we discount the time you spent in cold sleep, for you, only 3.5 months have passed since that happened. That being when you were sent back into the past from the garden. Have I missed anything?
No, everything you talked about you got right.
Well, what do you mean by that?
I'm kind of an unknown variable in this equation. You could think of me as a kind of X factor. It's taken me the last 3.5 months to understand it.
I haven't understood anything in the last 3.5 seconds. Could you please explain?
It's kind of like the relationship between classical mechanics and modern physics. Strictly speaking, you can't combine velocities with v1 plus v2. v1 plus v2 divided by 1 plus v1 times v2 over c squared is the actual equation. Of course, the sort of velocities we encounter in day-to-day life don't come close to being c squared, which is the speed of light squared. That means that 1 plus v1 times v2 divided by c squared is usually going to evaluate to something pretty close to 1. Since that would mean dividing by 1, it's usually okay to just skip that step and use v1 plus v2.
You can have relations with different women, then leave your mind. Well, that's dating sim. That's just a dating sim.
You see what I'm saying? In most situations, it works, even if it isn't technically correct. So you knew enough to get the stuff you were talking about right. As long as you stick to that, you won't run into any problems.
I don't quite understand. In fact, I feel like you're dodging my questions.
So was that what you wanted to ask about?
No. What I really want to know is what happened between Christmas and New Year's Eve in 2028. You and Sigma infiltrated the Mars mission test site, didn't you?
Yes.
She's back from that mission.
What happened there? How did Sigma lose his eye and both his arms? And why was Radical 6 in there in the first place? What could a deadly virus have to do with the simulated mission to space?
Sorry, but I can't tell you that.
Why?
Because it would change history. There is a history where the virus didn't escape. That's the line that goes to the right of point E. In that timeline, humanity isn't heading for annihilation, and Earth isn't red. The future is much brighter. But if I tell you what you're asking me right now, then that reality will disappear. You understand?
I don't. Why would all of that disappear if you told me what I want to know?
You're about to go back to the past, right?
The past? Don't be silly. I can't do that.
Then where the hell did you learn all this stuff? I just listened to you tell me a bunch of things you shouldn't have known about. You were sleeping in the pod in the garden. You just woke up. So how can you know all this? You know my past. Sigma's past.
I shall give you your answer. You are not Kyle Klein. Your body is Kyle's, but your consciousness is not.
Am I Sigma again?
Think about it. Do you really believe you're Kyle, or could you be someone else entirely?
Then, where is the real Kyle's consciousness?
I like it went back to question mark.
He was thrown out when you entered. Right now, in a manner of speaking, he has arrived at December 25th, 2028. His consciousness has gone into a body from that time. I doubt you know how much the Doctor loves Kyle. He raised him on his own. Kyle is irreplaceable. Do you really think he would go back to the past and leave Kyle behind here? I know what I told the others, that Kyle was Dr. Klein's spare, but that was not his only purpose. Kyle's consciousness is integral to what we are trying to accomplish. This new mission begins on Christmas and ends on New Year's Eve 2028. Its purpose will be to infiltrate the test facility and prevent the spread of the virus.
For sure, for sure.
For this to happen, Kyle is absolutely necessary.
But why?
And that is why he created him?
Yes.
So now that my consciousness has entered his body, the Doctor has achieved his objective. Kyle has gone back to 2028 to participate in his mission.
Correct.
There's one thing that troubles me. Kyle was created before reaching point B from point D. That means his body did not exist on Christmas in 2028. Does that mean he has entered my body? Have we just switched places?
I suppose you could put it that way, yes.
That's ridiculous. What's going to happen to me? You telling me I have to spend the rest of my life here in this box, living in a borrowed body?
No, not at all. You can travel freely through time and space. You are an uncontrolled variable that entered our closed system. As such, the rules of this world do not apply to you.
I have no idea what...
Are we getting meta?
Please don't try to play dumb. I know what you are. Surely you must know by now, too. You are about to go into the past and save the world. Phi and Sigma, even with all of his future knowledge, will need your help.
We are going meta. She's talking to me.
Only you can right the horrible wrongs of our past.
She's like, you need to buy the third game and play it so that way we can fix the past.
Only you can save the world.
There's no way I...
Yes, there is. You have to. Don't you want to know the truth? Don't you want to know what happened in between Christmas and New Year's Eve in 2028?
Don't you want to buy the third game?
Well, yes, I do, but...
Then you must believe. Reality is shaped by what we believe reality should be. If observation can change the motion of a particle, then how is it odd to think that human thought can shape reality? Your will can change history. The world will be reshaped into the one you imagine. Remember what I've told you. Only you can change history. Only you can save the world.
Alternative end. Trophy earned. A certain point of view. Trophy earned. You found it. I think that's everything, guys. I think that's everything. We'll go back and double check. But... oh, and that's the Akane end. I like it. But yeah, that looks like it's it. Alright, so. And that's a young Akane end. Beautiful, beautiful, lovely. Okay, well, we did it. We beat Virtue's Last Reward, and it looks like we 100%ed it. And perfectly, it is a little after 10 o'clock, so we'll be wrapping it up for tonight, and then next Thursday, I guess we start Zero Escape number 3. I forget what it's called. Zero Time Dilemma. Yeah. We're gonna start Zero Time Dilemma. And gonna try and save the world, because only we can save the world. So, yeah, thank you, and yeah, we'll see you, either next week, or, I also stream Magic on Saturday afternoon, 2 p.m. Eastern, so see you guys later. Yeah, and prevent forest fires with charts.